big buy signal just flash. Well, there's a lot of these signals all the time, but some measure Bitcoin on a macro scale over years upon years upon years, not just short term, long term. And this oscillator, Murray's math, is showing buy, and it hasn't shown buy since 2015. Okay? And what happened in 2015? Bitcoin went up nearly 10,000%. Last time this oscillator flashed buy. Basically, it's just showing Bitcoin was very oversold, and that is the perfect time to be buying. And right now, that's what it's flashing. Can Bitcoin start rallying here and go up 10,000% over the next 2 years? Hey, if you look at it from a long-term perspective, yes, it could certainly happen. Short-term, probably not. But long-term, yes, right? So this is pretty positive for Bitcoin. Big inflation data that could help drive markets up today. Okay? We have PCE data came out today. There's two measures, two things that measure inflation really that's used by almost everyone, CPI and PCE. PCE is what the Fed prefers. And we actually got some good news. Inflation came in at the same expected level that most predicted. So that's good. It didn't go above. It was 0.5% in September. But overall, and that's core inflation, but overall, PCE inflation has actually gone down, which means in September, okay, overall inflation actually slowed down, came down slightly, but core inflation was still rising, but didn't rise more than expectations. Okay, so that's positive. That's as positive as it can be. So overall, I think this is still being digested by Wall Street right now. The markets could certainly turn green today. NASDAQ has been so sold off recently, so maybe this will help investors come back into tech and NASDAQ. But right now, Bitcoin is seeing a little effect by this. Bitcoin is back up to 20,400. So this is pretty positive. We'll keep an eye on what happens later today. But, and then of course, there are other reasons to be bullish and positive about Bitcoin. I mean, here's one. If you just want to just zoom out and just take a look, yes, you could only focus on the downs, right? If the bears and Peter Schiffs of the world had control, they would only make you focus on the negative 94%, negative 86%, negative 84%, negative 74%. But what they don't want you to focus on is what happens after those drops. Bitcoin goes on 10,000%, 5,000%, thousands of percents afterwards, right? This is why you have to withstand some of these volatility and some of these corrections, because you get rewarded handsomely afterwards, right? And every single cycle we have, yes, it goes up a little bit less. And also the good thing is the downward pressure also goes down a little bit less. So it makes sense that the discount, the drop from peak is less and less every cycle as Bitcoin gets bigger and there's more maturity. And of course, there's more holders in this space, right? So makes a lot of sense. These are all positive things. Now, what else is going on today? Well, the other big thing is the fact that we're seeing this. EU, European Union, their council and parliament came to a provisional agreement to ban the sale of new diesel and gasoline cars. So from 2035, like right now to me, seems like, oh man, that's so far ahead. We don't have to worry about 2035. But the reality is we're heading into 2023. We're talking about only 12 years. And cars usually, the car cycle is usually about 4 to 5 years. So we're talking about two more cycles for cars. The third cycle after that, they will all have to be EV in Europe. And the best company that's positioned for this is, of course, Tesla. Mercedes, Audi, VW, everyone, Porsche. I mean, they have some EV cars, but there's nowhere close. Nowhere close. And let's not forget about the infrastructure, the power grids, and everything else that's going on. You know, it's just no one can really make that drastic of a change other than if you're already pure EV manufacturer like Tesla. So this is going to help tremendously, okay? Now, before I heard it was just UK 2035. This is supposed to be all of EU. So, wow. Just came out of nowhere. But the EU is not just going to let Elon Musk dominate the world. They also warns Musk that he'll have to fly by our rules as he buys Twitter. I don't know what that actually means, but I'm guessing they want to implement a lot of strict rules for what Elon could do and cannot do with Twitter in the EU. I don't think Elon really cares, to be honest. I mean, if somehow EU bans Twitter, he's like, whatever. I don't think they can anyways. I don't even think it's in their jurisdiction. I don't know, maybe, whatever. But I just thought this was kind of funny. And I couldn't get over the fact that I saw this picture right here. And it's just freaking hilarious. Just really hilarious. And also what's hilarious is the day before Elon brought in all these Tesla engineers to the Twitter office to review code. What they did was to lock all the devs and said, hey, your services are no longer needed, and they kicked them all out. That's really what happened. CZ also says, hey, we wired a 500 million 2 days ago. We wired it. I don't know why he has to make it so public, but just imagine the ability to wire $500 million. Hopefully one day I can experience that, but that's a lot of money. But here's the thing. If you do want to transfer $500 million and you're wiring it through a bank, think about how many hoops you have to jump through. How many in-between guys that will question you, why are you wiring this much? Okay? Your bank, their bank, countries, the FBI, whoever, everyone is going to get involved. But if you're sending someone $500 million worth of Bitcoin, boom, it's there in the same amount of time as if you sent $10 worth of Bitcoin. No one will question you and no one is going to stop you, right? That is why Bitcoin and a decentralized network is awesome. I can't even imagine the hoops you have to jump through to be able to wire $500 million. It would be insane. Insane. All right. What else is there? What else is going on? Well, I did notice this huge, massive exodus of Bitcoin from Binance. We're talking about over $1.1 billion. This happened within the last few days. Massive amount. Now, I don't think it's Binance selling off $500 million of the Bitcoin to pay for Elon. So this is completely different. But I did notice there are definitely a lot of huge whales buying right now with all these indicators, models, oscillators, and world events going on. There are a lot that are paying attention saying, hey, this is a great time to be buying Bitcoin, and that is exactly what they're doing. This is $1.1 billion worth, 55,732 Bitcoins left Binance over the last few days. Just think about that. All right, what else is going on today? I did see Cardano. Cardano is getting ready to release details on their new layer 2 scaling solution called Hydra. This has been very hyped up for quite some time. And this will basically make Cardano scale infinitely and bring on multi-chains. A lot of other projects already have this, like, you know, multiple chains working together, and basically you can scale infinitely, and that is what Hydra is all about. So this is quite exciting, really exciting for Cardano. And then what else is going on? I think that's pretty much it. Look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin is still going up and up and up and up. Probably helped today by the PC inflation report. But the big thing that everyone's waiting for is next week on Wednesday. We will get that press conference from the FOMC governors. I mean, no, I take that back. We will get a press conference from Jerome Powell, and he will state what the FOMC board governors decided behind closed doors. Will he be more dovish or hawkish? Probably dovish. It's looking like that, but who knows? Maybe he throws a wrench in things. But if he doesn't, and he becomes dovish, and we get a 0.5 increase or 50 basis point increase instead of a 75 basis increase, that will be absolutely fantastic for markets. Absolutely fantastic for markets. All right, the last thing I want to show you, a couple things. It has really nothing to do with anything, but I found these things interesting. Number one is all the oil companies are making crazy amounts of money right now. Chevron's 11.2 billion quarterly profit. It's huge. Not just them, Exxon, and everyone else, all the oil companies, right? So it makes me wonder, we hear about, you know, of course, rising energy costs, right? Supply chain issues, the war, all these things are affecting oil production, oil prices, all sky high, right? So is that really the case, or are the oil companies just marking up the prices? So, I mean, if oil was scarce and it's just, you know, it's just being passed on to the consumers because simply they can't produce enough, then their profits shouldn't be skyrocketing right now. But they're all skyrocketing, which makes me think they're kind of doing it on purpose. They have plenty of oil, plenty of to sell, but they're just taking advantage of the situation and say, okay, since it seems like everyone is worried about the war and everything, let's just jack up the price. I mean, to me, that's what it sounds like. Otherwise, why would they be making all these record profits for their quarters, right? I don't know. Someone needs to look into that. And lastly, this is not a good thing. Not a good thing at all, but I did see this, that Nancy Pelosi's husband was violently assaulted this morning at their home. They broke in, he assaulted him, and they arrested him. I have no idea why. If it's due to politics or due to maybe they getting sick of him making hundreds of millions of dollars based on insider trading, I don't know, or it's a random occurrence. I have no idea, but it's not a good thing. So, but I saw this as breaking news as well. All right, guys. Overall market is doing better today, closing in at 1 trillion once again. Unfortunately, we fell below. Let's see if we can get above and stay above for this weekend moving into next week.